Hey planner friends, how's it going? Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. My name is Ryan and this is A Man with the Plans, and we are back to do kind of a little update video talking about my financial journey so far and where I'm headed next. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. I am living in Minneapolis. I just turned 30, paid off over $60,000 in debt ranging from a car note, student loans, credit cards. Made some great choices when I was younger, pretty much normal stuff. And now I've gotten all that out of the way, and so I'm taking steps and kind of chronicling my journey on my sort of what my financial future holds. So back in September, I finally finished Dave Ramsey's baby step number 2, which is pay off all your debts. And so the next thing on my list was that emergency fund. So according to Dave Ramsey, it kind of goes in order, steps 1 through 7. Number 1 is creating a starter emergency fund of just $1,000. Pretty easy. It's not going to cover every single emergency that comes up in your life, but it's enough cushion to keep you moving. Step number 2 is the one that I feel like is most talked about on the internet, and that's paying off all your debts from smallest to largest. That's called the snowball method. And I finished that back in September of 2020. So despite the crazy year that everyone was having, I was working a lot of overtime, and I had a couple of opportunities to be able to really accelerate my payoff, and so I finished my last student loan off in September. I opened up back then what they called was a high yield savings account. It was supposed to be like 0.75% at the time, but I feel like because interest rates have been so low and dropping and dropping and dropping, it's now I think at 0.45, so we're not doing crazy amounts of interest here, but that's not what it's for. So I've been adding to that since September, and back in March, I finished my fully funded emergency fund, also known as baby step number 3. So now I finally have just a cushion of cash waiting for me if anything should come up. Job loss, job change, car issue, something. It's all just sitting there, hanging out, doing its thing, waiting for me if I ever need it. And I'll tell you, there's some peace of mind that I never thought I'd have. It's just absolutely wonderful. So the question really is, according to Dave, there's 2 steps you can pick from. 4, which is investing 15% of your income in retirement savings, or baby step 3B, which is save for a down payment on a home. And so I really thought about this long and hard, and I had just kind of figured, like what's next in terms of where I want to go and where am I going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. And that's kind of a big question. I'm originally from New York. I'm in the Midwest. I love it out here, but is this the place that I'm going to be spending the next 5 to 10 years? That's got some pretty big financial impacts for where I want to head. And so this video is kind of talking through what's going to happen, where I'm headed, what I'm doing, and talking about being really transparent and open and honest about what I'm thinking. That's kind of the purpose of this channel. If you like it, again, go ahead and click that subscribe button for me. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button because I greatly appreciate it and it does help our little channel out. So go ahead and do that for me, I greatly appreciate it. So the conversation, buy a house, save to buy a house, or invest your income in retirement. It's kind of the 2 big crossroad questions here. And so to me, I really need to think through kind of an analysis. I'm a planner person, as we all know, and so for me, really thinking about what's my next move. And the first thing here is let's figure out what I should be doing. And the first question is Minnesota my forever? And when I say forever home, I mean 5 to 10 years. I love it out here, and I've grown to enjoy the frigid weather, and I've built quite a life for myself, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what jobs might be called, coming into the universe, if you will. I don't know. So I really like to spend a significant chunk of time here, really continue to just live life the way that I want to. I've really built a life for myself that I appreciate and I enjoy. And there are wonderful people I've met and connected with here that I consider like family. And so, I love my job. Overall, great things in life. And so, then on the other side of that, there's my family. They're getting a little bit older, they live in New York, need to figure that out. How do I strike that balance? And so for me, I'm just not sure what's gonna happen. And so solely working on only a down payment on a house right now just didn't seem like the perfect option or the correct option, right? So that's one thing. The other issue that we have to talk about, you're obviously well aware if you've been looking at real estate at all, the market's white hot. And honestly, I've looked at a few townhomes, I have a realtor, they understand kind of where I'm coming from, but the thing here is everyone is fighting for such a small inventory, and you know, there's a couple homes I looked at that I saw them and then kind of the question was, well, you're already putting in an offer because they've already got 3 today. And so that doesn't seem like the best way to approach any decision. And I was listening to Bigger Pockets, and there was an episode about kind of your first time home buying experience, and the phrase like buying your home from a place of financial strength instead of urgency or competition. And so as much as I think I'd love to not pay rent anymore, right? Like, it's totally fine. You know, it does the job. It gives you this flexibility. That's why you rent. I just don't know if I'm willing to kind of battle it out over the next couple of months trying to find something. One, because, you know, ultimately I don't know what area of the Twin Cities I love the most and where I want to call home. And the other thing is I just don't feel like competing for all of that to pay way more for a house. Even though the interest rates are super low right now, you know, so I'm not sure. If the perfect home comes up, I get the weekly emails, you know, we can think about where we're headed. And so that's just one of the many reasons why. So what I decided on is I'm splitting the difference. And Dave fans, you can balk at this if you want, that's fine, I understand. But the thing about personal finance is it's a personal decision. So from my employer, I already have to take out 6.5%, I think, for a pension fund, right? Just taken out before taxes, I haven't even noticed it. And they match into a contribution. Wonderful. So what I'm doing is I'm funding the other 8.5% to get to that 15% mark. That's going towards retirement. I just feel like that's the right thing to do. I want to catch up. I just hit 30. I'm looking at 67. And I'm like, oh, it's forever away. I'm like, no, it's really not. You're almost halfway there if you think about it. So that was a frightening moment. So I'm gonna be doing that. And at the same time, I'm also gonna be including a non-negotiable amount to put towards a down payment. The beautiful thing right now is that conventional loans, you can do all sorts of different things. And so I'm just gonna start squirreling away money. So we're splitting the difference. We're putting both things together. I'm gonna be able to finish my IRA contribution for the year. Something I'm really excited to do. It's the first time I had it. I opened it up through Vanguard. Super excited about that. I'm also putting money away for the house. So I'm really coming at it from maybe a slower pace, but I think that that slower pace allows me to kind of build some time, right? It allows me to really think about what I want, think about what I don't want and what I don't need. So the last thing here though is that I also included, and you'll notice in my budgets moving forward, I have a home savings area. It'll be on my June budget to my May budget. If you want to go see, I'll leave the video link over there again. I have home savings, I have retirement savings, and then I also have an M1 finance account that I've been playing around with. I'm very new to the stock market and index funds, but I also just generally have some curiosity. And if I'm gonna be quite honest, I feel like when I was in the throes of baby step 2, I could never think about being able to have money at the end of the month that I could be investing in my future. It's just something you don't think about because you're so like, okay, how do I cut this so I can put it towards the debt to move the snowball and so on and so forth. I now have money set aside in my budget, small amounts, like $100, $150 a month, where I'm putting it largely into ETFs and index funds. A few of the stocks, I've set up a small little mini portfolio in M1 dedicated to dividends, just something I'm playing around with, knowing that generally over time it'll be a decent investment. And so, you know, that's something that I've been playing around with and I'm really enjoying it. And I also know that it's an investment longer term. So, you know, 70-year-old Ryan can benefit from what 30-year-old Ryan thought of was fun. The thing here is that I'm really trying to kind of learn as I go and sort of not make crazy financial moves. I feel like I've seen a lot of like stock market stuff like to the moon and all those things. And as we've noticed throughout the whole year so far, it's been a volatile market year, but that also has given some opportunity for me to say like, yeah, I'll buy $50 of Bitcoin or something. That's another thing I've been starting to study up on is Bitcoin. I downloaded the app Coinbase. I feel like I've seen all those ads lately. So I'll leave a link down below. The thing about Coinbase that I like is that I was playing around with the Coinbase Earn. So basically there's these like videos that you get a quiz, and I think I made like $34 just by like watching these little videos and answering one question at the end of them. So for me, that was like there was a no-lose situation. I wasn't putting any of my own capital into it. I was learning about cryptocurrency because I really don't understand it and I don't feel comfortable throwing thousands of dollars or more than that for some people into something that I don't understand. That's just fair. So the fact that I was being rewarded for learning a little bit, and yeah, so I've got stuff like Stellar Lumens, Compound, Ampleforth, all these other coins that I don't really understand fully and how they all interact when I'm learning about them. I was given some of that just just for doing some research, which I think is such a cool thing. So I'll leave a link down below. Check out Coinbase if you feel like you want to learn a bit more. You usually don't have to actually invest anything if you want to just do the Coinbase earn stuff. It's pretty neat. So check that out if you're curious. I'll leave it linked. But this is where I'm headed with my financial future. You know, I'm kind of focusing on two goals at the same time, which I think, you know, yeah, divide and conquer, your progress is slower, but I think in this instance, taking things a little bit slower just makes me feel like I'm gonna be better prepared and ultimately better, I don't know, more satisfied with the decision. I could focus all of my income into just putting a down payment together, and I could rush through that process to find myself a house, a townhouse, and those types of things. But I don't honestly know, you know, if that's what I want right now in this hour of my life. So for me, I'm looking at townhomes and houses right now. I've got a pretty set budget. If you are interested in kind of how I'm going through that process, we can do a little series on home buyer chronicle stuff. I'd be happy to share. But for me, I'm not in any hurry. And the reason why I'm not in any hurry, again, is just, it's houses, right? There's so many of them here. They're building more of them. And I'm trying not to be super emotional about the house, because the house I buy now, 7 years from now, might be very different in terms of what I need out of my life, right? And what do I need out of my home? So I'm trying to take it from a place of like, it's a good financial investment, it'll be a great place to live in an area I like, but you know what? If a townhouse I love sells in an end unit of that building, well, guess what? There's what, 12, 16 other end units in the development that'll eventually come on the market that I can purchase, right? So I'm really trying to take like a low-key, non-emotional feel to this, which is something different from me. I usually act on impulse, but I'm just following this whole like take it slow mentality, just because one, I don't want to get too excited and rush into something. I am very new to the whole home buying experience, and there's just things that I'm learning throughout this process that I never knew. So we're working on that side of things, taking it slow, while we're also being able to maximize my retirement savings and ensure that I've got myself a pretty sound financial future. So that's gonna about wrap this video up. If you did like it, go ahead again and give it a thumbs up. I really truly appreciate it, and it does help our channel out. We share, if you like it, it actually helps the YouTube algorithm share it to other people, so please do that. I greatly appreciate it. You can find me over on social media. I'm always hanging out on Instagram and Facebook, and I actually just kind of started my blog. It's amanwiththeplans.com. Nothing crazy. Generally, I'll like take these videos, embed them, and then I'll also do a little bit more kind of discussing back and forth and those types of things, going a little bit more in depth and beyond just a video. So I highly encourage you to go over there and check that out. But yeah, go ahead and leave me a comment below about what your major financial goal is. I'd love to know. Honestly, all of you have been so helpful in this journey that I love being able to share this, and then I get lots of helpful comments on, have you checked this out? What about deferred comp? So many great things, so let me know what you're working on down below. I'd love to know. Hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, planner friends.